Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Gabe Strong, a DP and video producer based in Juneau, Alaska. Sorry it's been a while since I posted a vlog. Last time I posted, I was off on a travel adventure to conduct a series of interviews with the surviving lighthouse keepers of Alaska's oldest remaining lighthouse. While on that trip, I made a huge mistake. Basically, the short story is, I walked off the plane and left my laptop in the seat pocket in front of me. By the time I realized that I didn't have my laptop with me, I had already walked through security, and they wouldn't let me back through to get my laptop. To make matters worse, Alaska Airlines only has one flight a day to Cleveland, and they close their terminal right after we land, so I was unable to get anyone from the airline to help me go retrieve my laptop. When I called their 1-800 number, all they do is tell me to fill out a form online. It was so frustrating to be literally 100 yards from my expensive laptop and not be able to go get it, and to know that it would probably just be thrown in some room somewhere and I'd never see it again. Anyways, the moral of the story is, don't be a dummy like me and keep track of your stuff when you're on a plane. I had to wait a long time to have a new computer shipped to me because that whole shipping to Alaska thing can be a pain in the butt. Enough about my problems. Now that I have a computer to edit with, let's get on to the purpose of this vlog. And that is about how I got this job for Bloomberg TV.
But we start with a story about saving for the future, when it makes sense for an entire country to put something away for a rainy day, and when doing something so sensible could lead to a whole new set of problems.
We'll create America's own sovereign wealth fund to invest in great national endeavors for the benefit of all of the American people. Why don't we have a wealth fund? Other countries have wealth funds. We have nothing.
David Moorfield and others on YouTube have talked about getting yourself listed on Production Hub. Now, I think that's a great idea if you live in an urban area or anywhere close to one. But for me in Alaska, I'm just going to have a basic profile on Production Hub. And that's because I don't think I have ever once seen a listing for a job in my entire state on Production Hub. I also have a basic listing on Staff Me Up, and I have gotten 1 or 2 jobs on Staff Me Up. Production Hub, nothing for me.
Stay tuned after Whitewater Gold. What do you guys call it now, by the way? What's the name of the show? Okay, so it's Alaska Gold Rush. Then it's Whitewater Gold. Then it was Alaska Whitewater Gold. Then it's Gold Rush Alaska Whitewater Gold. And now it's just Whitewater. And then it was Gold Rush Whitewater. I have no clue what this thing is called.
One site I signed up for a while ago was called Story Hunter. One unique thing about this site was that it required you to be verified by previous clients. I used this site for several jobs, but it had been some time since I had a job from it. However, a couple weeks ago I got the following email. I quickly did some online research and found out that Story Hunter is rebranding itself as a company named Glimmer. And apparently Glimmer will send you emails when they have a job in your area. They do take a 10% cut, but they also allow you to negotiate with the client on your fee, so you can take that into account. So after you've finished negotiating what your fee will be, your client will probably send you a document like this. Now I've blacked out the contact info, of course, but this shows the shooting guidelines. We're shooting 1080 30p and Cinetone because we're not going to shoot flat. And then they don't want anything transcoded, just upload directly to them. You do have to watch your ISO. You don't want to get any noise in your blacks. Then there's the schedule of the day and shot list. This is pretty typical, except that we're going to have a Zoom live feed. Here's some examples of shots that they're looking for on the A camera and the B camera. The schedule's all laid out for us there. We have an interview with the governor at 11. You can see the other shots here. They got some B-roll, some drone shots, MOS interviews on the street with people, and then there's kind of a script just showing what this whole story is about. And as is usual in Alaska, I'll be traveling by air. In this case, I'm on a Alaska Airlines jet to Anchorage. It's a great day for a flight. Clear, sunny, a bit cold, but not too bad. Now, Cranky Cameraman talked about this on his channel, how it's important to get back to a client quickly when they're looking for a DP or a camera op. In this situation, it literally said urgently needed on the message, so I responded as quickly as I could, and I think that's probably at least one of the reasons I got this job. So just a friendly tip, a lot of these national networks have extreme deadlines and they're just looking for someone right away that can do the job. So responding quickly to them will often get you the job.
Weekend and explore, but it's just a bit tough. So I got to come back for personal, for a private trip. Oh, it's kind of pretty with the sun right now.
It is actually.
Maybe we can. I'll park here and maybe we can get a few.
This is
like that. This is where I set the pin to. Okay. I don't know where the.
So we were lucky. The first day I got into Anchorage, I met up with the producer, and we had a full day to drive around and shoot B-roll. Here we just stopped at a frozen pond. There was a lot of people out with their kids doing a little hockey, just skating around and recreating. It was a holiday, Veterans Day, so there weren't many people on the streets in Anchorage, but there was definitely people out making the best of the day. Then I also stopped here at the park next to the airport because it's a good spot to get a shot of the city of Anchorage. This is a pretty normal establishing shot of Anchorage with the water in the foreground and the mountains in the background that a lot of crews will get. We'll also be getting some drone shots later, so this won't be our only establishing shot, but it's a good one. So it is just cold enough that I'm going to fly the drone from inside the car here and get some establishing shots. The drone stuff was actually something I had to do a little research on, as some of the locations she wanted were locations where I had to get LANC approval, but luckily all of them were inside spots that were easy to get the approval just through your app on your iPhone. I would submit a request for approval and be approved within 30 seconds or so. So after we were done shooting the B-roll, we stopped at Stewart's Photo. Big shout out to Stewart's for some rental items. We needed a second camera angle, so I grabbed an A1 and a tripod. And we also grabbed the DJI wireless mic system that hooks into the hot shoe of the FX6. I rented it and then hooked it up, and it didn't work, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. One of the guys there at Stewart's Photo told me that he had heard you needed the latest firmware on the FX6 to use that wireless mic system. So I checked my firmware, and I had 5.0.1, and there's a newer update, 5.0.2. So I updated the firmware, and lo and behold, hooked it back up and it worked. So I just wanted to let you all know, if you're having problems with this system in your FX6, you might try updating your firmware. It worked for me. All right, it's the end of the day. Here's home for the night. Bloomberg got me a hotel with a pretty nice view of the Anchorage skyline here. And over here I got the gear table set up with the FX6, the A1, batteries for both cameras, the drone batteries, the DJI mic charging. Tomorrow we'll be doing a 2-camera interview with the governor of Alaska, and also a live hit back to Bloomberg TV, as well as recording both cameras locally here for a piece to be produced later. All right, time for the day to start. Pretty dark here in Alaska. Well, it's pretty dark all the time in the winter. It's a little past 7 and we got to get ready. Got an interview scheduled to go at 11, so we got to get over there and set up for it. And here's my first loadout of gear down in the lobby. Got another one set to come down, but have quite a bit of the stuff here already. So let's get the rest of it. So this is a pretty complex setup. We've got 2 different cameras, FX6 and the A1. We've also got to set up a live feed where the governor will be able to see the correspondent back in, well, New York, the Bloomberg's broadcasting from, as well as lighting, two different camera angles. So there's a lot to set up here. Luckily, I do have a camera op assistant to help me, as well as the producer, so there's 3 of us on this job.
My only concern a bit is you can see this like.
Yeah, I know the headroom doesn't look right on this shot, but that's because the governor is 6'7", and my camera op is definitely not. So we're framing up a little high because I know he's going to be taller than her. We've got a feed for him to be able to see the correspondent. We'll split screen it. I'm personally not crazy about this fish in the background, but the producer wanted it, so we'll try to make it look the best we can. Got a couple these tube lights here in the background lighting up the flag and lighting up the state seal.
Dave, sir, can you step out?
I'm just looking at the...
Okay, great. That's right. Can you beat him for a second? Okay. Can you move to the left and right stick for me? Okay. All right. As long as he doesn't see too much, you should be fine. All right. Thank you. And we're good on audio?
Yeah, we tested the audio.
Right,
It was
cool.
good.
All right. So we
I
have
think
about
we're
10 minutes.
I think we're about as ready as we're gonna get. We're obviously gonna probably, when he sits in, have to move the the chair a
Yeah,
few
we're
inches, the
gonna
lighting.
adjust.
By the way, you can see I have a return video monitor right here, so we can see what is going out on air, which camera,
Balance manually.
and we
Can
know
you make
what's
sure this
up.
says manual
We've got the governor
balance?
sitting in now. Let me try to creep around to the edge here, put my headphones down and show you a shot of this split screen. I'm not sure if Bloomberg is up yet or not, but you'll see what he'll be able to see. So he's on the right side, and the correspondent will show up there on the left side, so they'll be able to talk back and forth.
Yes.
So thanks a lot for doing this. Karuri's there with you. You know what we're doing here, right? We're doing a story on sovereign wealth funds.
Yes. Now, as you can see, my hair light is too bright, hitting him on the side of the face. I need to readjust that quickly because we're just about ready to go. It's this light right here. I'm going to try to put it in the corner on this shot so you can see which one I'm talking about. All right, got that fixed. I think we're ready to go.
We have something called the Alaska Permanent Fund up there in Alaska. Why don't you tell us about what that is?
Well, it's uniquely Alaskan, to be honest with you. It's a way for Alaskans to store their non-renewable resources, especially oil, mining, minerals, etc. And so in 1976, the state legislature sent to the people of Alaska a constitutional resolution to constitutionalize the concept of a permanent fund in our Constitution. And that was successful. The permanent fund was born in 76. 1980.
Embodying the Constitution
Yes.
of Alaska.
Yes.
But with your experience now, would there be things that you would improve on the Alaska Permanent Fund? Are there things you would do differently or better?
I think it was structured well. I think it's managed well. Some of us would like to see more money go into the corpus, to grow the corpus.
So there's a quick look behind the scenes on this 2-camera shoot. You can see here on the return video feed, we actually have the A1 straight on shot up instead of the shot on the FX6, which is the kind of off angle shot with the fish in the background. I'll show you both shots right here real quick, and then we'll go to the part of the finished piece.
It's the second largest fund in the United States in the world per capita after the Norwegian fund. It's well managed. It's protected. It's an integral part of Alaska. It is something that you can ask any person in Alaska, whether you're in Barrow, Southeast Alaska, Anchorage, if they know what the permanent fund is.
That's all right. That's great. That's great.
At least it's warm.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you want?
And here we are at the end of the day, back at the hotel, dumping footage. But let's take a quick look at part of the completed piece.
Sovereign wealth funds date back to the 1800s, and although the U.S. doesn't have its own investment fund, 20 states do, including Texas, New Mexico, and Alaska.
The United States has over $330 billion in sovereign wealth funds, but the largest one is the one in Alaska. And it's a fund that works very, very well because they have a very clear mandate on where they invest the revenues, the profits of this fund, which is mostly in education. And they also have very good corporate governance following the Santiago principles. So I think that's the clue to their success, other than, having this nice pocket of money that rather than they investing it directly into more risky things, they have decided to invest in long-term, diversifying from the oil and the gas. So I would say that it's a very successful model. Maybe the U.S. could also learn something from it.
We wanted to see what we could learn from it, so we went to Alaska to find out for ourselves.
This is a very popular topic in Alaska. Every year, it's like, how much is the dividend going to be this year? When are we getting it? Are we getting direct deposit?
It's uniquely Alaskan, to be honest with you. It's a way for Alaskans to store their non-renewable resource, especially oil, mining.
Mike Dunleavy moved to Alaska more than 40 years ago and got his first job working in a logging camp. Today, he's the state's 12th governor.
The Permanent Fund was born in '76. In 1980, the Permanent Fund dividend came into being. This is all as a result of oil that was discovered in Alaska, David, and some really, really smart people that had a lot of foresight. The fear was that we would spend all of our oil money and we wouldn't have anything for future generations.
It is amazing. I was actually here the first year we got a check. It was a $400 check, and as a teenager, I was so excited. We bought a VCR that tells you how old it was.
When it was created a half century ago, the fund began with an investment of $734,000. Since then, its assets have grown to over $80 billion as of September.
It's the second largest fund in the United States in the world per capita after the Norwegian fund. It's well managed, it's protected. It's an integral part of Alaska. It is something that you can ask any person in Alaska, whether you're in Barrow, Southeast Alaska, Anchorage, if they know what the Permanent Fund is, and most people will tell you they know exactly what the Permanent Fund is and the PFD, the Permanent Fund dividend. So it is in the lexicon of almost every Alaskan.
I mean, any type of Alaskan, no matter what age you are. In my situation, my dad saved up our Alaska Permanent Fund for pretty much all our lives so that we could use it for college, specifically, because tuition is always rising. So he just figured that he could use that as a means to save for college and stuff, and that's worked out really well for me. Even still, I continue to save it in case I have extra tuition I have to pay for and stuff like that. And it's been really helpful. Yeah, it's definitely probably one of the main reasons I was even able to go to college.
The origins of Alaska's fund and its purpose are similar to Norway's.
Countries like Norway have sovereign wealth funds because they have these huge oil revenues coming in.
So that's the story of how I got a job for Bloomberg TV using a little-known platform named Glimmer. Maybe give it a try. Hopefully it will work as well for you as it did for me. That's all for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again next time.